There's something about the night shift. The silence, the emptiness, the way shadows move when no one's watching. Maybe that's why the strangest, darkest, and most terrifying things don't happen in broad daylight, but in the quiet hours, when the world's supposed to be asleep. These are 5 true night shift horror stories that will make you question what's really out there after midnight. Each one darker than the last. Turn off the lights, put your phone on silent, and listen closely. Just don't be surprised if you check over your shoulder before this is over. Story 1. The security guard's final round. This came from a guy named Marcus, who used to work security for an office building downtown. Real clean place. Automatic lights, silent elevators. The kind of place you'd expect nothing weird to happen. He'd been working the night shift for about a year, 11 to 7. Long enough to know every creak, every faulty flicker of a light. But this particular night started strange. Right around 3:03 a.m., Marcus noticed something on the monitors. A figure, dark, human-shaped, walking down the main hallway. But there was a problem. Marcus had just done his round. That floor should have been completely empty. No cleaning crew, no one scheduled to be inside after 10 p.m. He flipped through the camera angles. The figure never showed its face, just kept walking, slow and steady, like it belonged there. He radioed the other guard on duty. No response. So he grabbed his flashlight, told himself it was probably a homeless guy who slipped past the gate, and headed to the floor. Empty. The hallway was just as quiet and sterile as always. But when he walked past the elevators, one dinged open behind him. He turned. The elevator sat open on floor 5, lights on, no one inside. Then he saw them. Wet footprints. Fresh. As if someone had stepped out dripping wet, though the carpet wasn't wet, just the prints. They led down the hallway and stopped, mid-stride. No doors open, no hiding spots, just nothing. He returned to the security room and rewound the footage. Here's the thing. The figure he saw never appeared on the recording. Gone. And the other guard quit the next morning. No call, no warning, just gone. Marcus. He lasted one more week. The elevator started opening every night at 3:03, always to floor 5. No one ever stepped out, but the footprints always returned. He says he doesn't take elevators anymore. But if you think that was unsettling, wait until you hear what happened to Lisa at the hospital. Story 2. Code Blue at 3:33 a.m. This one comes from a night shift nurse we'll call Lisa, who worked in the ICU of a major hospital. She was seasoned, calm under pressure, not the type to believe in ghosts, until that night. Room 211 had a patient on his last legs, Mr. Harrison, 78 years old, in a coma. His family had already said their goodbyes. Around 3:33 a.m., his heart monitor flatlined. Lisa and her team responded, called the time of death, and respectfully began the process. But the second they left the room, something started happening. The call button lit up. Room 211. Lisa returned, thinking maybe they left something resting on the button. The bed was empty. She unplugged the device. 10 minutes later, it lit up again. Then came the monitors. Not just the call button, but the entire vital system for that room rebooted. Heart rate, oxygen levels, brain waves, all back online. As if Mr. Harrison had never died. One nurse joked, maybe he was resurrecting. Lisa went to the records room to double-check everything. While she was gone, the crash cart, used only in Code Blue emergencies, rolled by itself into the ICU hallway. A full 20 feet. Its brakes were locked. The overnight doctor finally ordered the machines unplugged for good. That morning, the head nurse pulled Lisa aside. "You know what happened in 211, right?" she said. Lisa shook her head. 10 years ago. Same room, same time. Another patient flatlined and came back, for exactly 3 minutes. Said he saw someone in the room with him. someone who wasn't human. Mr. Harrison never came back, but for 3 nights after, the ICU staff reported cold spots, missing supplies, and hearing someone whispering from behind the curtains. The hospital never closed room 211, but no one requests the night shift anymore. Death leaves echoes, and sometimes those echoes find their way to the loneliest corners of the night, like a gas station where time seems to stand still. Story 3. The Last Customer. Late one night, about 2:15 a.m., a gas station attendant named Nate was pulling the closing shift at a lonely outpost off a rural Arizona highway. The kind of place where tumbleweeds look more alive than people. He was behind the counter, sipping his Red Bull, when the bell above the door chimed. The man who walked in was strange, mid-40s, pale, wearing outdated clothes. Not vintage, just old, like 1980s thrift store old. He didn't speak, just smiled politely and bought a Coke and a pack of gum, paid with a crisp $10 bill. Nate thought nothing of it until the man left. He glanced up at the security feed to jot down the timestamp, but the footage was blank. The door opened and closed, but no one entered. No customer, just static. Weirder still, when he opened the register that morning, the bill was gone. In its place, a small pile of ash. His manager brushed it off, told him to get more sleep, but Nate couldn't let it go. He looked through old missing persons reports. A few hours later, he found a match. The man had gone missing in 1987, last seen at that very gas station, buying a Coke and gum, just like that night. 2 weeks later, a trucker came in claiming to have seen someone walking down the highway. Same guy, same clothes, same time of night. They say he shows up once every few years, just passing through, looking for something, or someone. But sometimes, the dead don't just wander highways looking for closure. Sometimes, they're tied to a specific place, a specific machine, waiting for the right person to walk by. And when that person shares their blood, well, that's when things get personal. Story 4. Factory Floor Phantom. Derek worked nights at a factory that made industrial gears. No frills, just machines, concrete, and a few bored guys in orange vests. But every night, around 4 a.m., things went sideways. It started small, conveyor belts moving on their own, safety lights flashing with no triggers, machinery that had been deactivated sparking back to life. One night, Derek walked past a hydraulic press that had been offline for weeks. Suddenly, it slammed shut, inches from his head. If he'd been even a step closer. The foreman blamed faulty wiring, but Derek started asking around. Turns out, years ago, a worker died on that exact machine during the graveyard shift. Crushed, instantly. They cleaned it up, kept it quiet, and kept the line moving. But that press, it always fires at 4:07 a.m. on the dot. One night, Derek stayed late just to see it. He stood back, phone out. Sure enough, the machine activated. No power to it. But what chilled him wasn't the motion. It was the scream that echoed right after. The next day, Derek found a faded file in the office records. The worker's name? His last name was Derek's too. His uncle. He quit that week. He said the place wasn't haunted. It was waiting. And it remembered bloodlines. Family ties can bind us to the darkest places. But sometimes, it's not blood that keeps the dead anchored to our world. It's routine. The simple, everyday habits that become so ingrained, they continue long after life ends. Which brings us to our final story, the most unsettling of all. Because this one never really ends. Story 5. The Diner That Never Closes. This one's from Jen, who worked the midnight shift at a 24-hour diner off an old state road. Quiet most nights. Locals, truckers, the occasional drifter. But after 2 a.m., she said things changed. It always started with the bell over the door. 3 people, 2 men, 1 woman, dressed like they stepped out of a 1970s magazine. Polite. Always ordered the same thing. Black coffee, cherry pie, and eggs over easy. They never aged, never changed clothes, and never blinked. Jen thought it was a weird joke at first, maybe local actors, but then she saw the newspaper clippings. An old story, taped to the break room wall. A car crash from 1975. 3 passengers. Same descriptions. Same names from the receipts they always signed. One night, she asked them who they were. The woman smiled and said, "We never left." After that, they started showing up more often. She'd find napkins folded into strange shapes, booths warm when no one had sat there. On her last shift, she went to clean their usual table. They were already there, except this time, they were translucent, faded. The man leaned in and whispered, "Last call." Then they vanished. She quit the next day, but she still drives past that diner sometimes and swears she sees their silhouettes through the glass, waiting for coffee that never comes. The night as a memory. These stories come from real people. Nurses, guards, clerks, and workers who've seen what most of us sleep through. Whether you believe in ghosts or just fear the unknown, one thing's for sure. Something watches in the dark. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We've got more real horror stories coming your way. Stories that might just keep you up tonight. Sleep tight.